Linda is the best office employee at Preston Corporation. Her manager, Donovan, is impressed with her report and compliments her abilities, but he refuses to let her attend the board meeting. He says he'll let everyone know it's her work. However, once the meeting begins, Donovan removes her name and takes credit. Linda tries to vent her frustrations to a coworker, but she only comes across as awkward and strange. When other coworkers try to plan an outing, she tries to talk to them and join in, but she is always left out. Linda lives alone and has no friends or family. In all of her vacation photos, she is alone, with only her parrot for company. Linda, on the other hand, is always optimistic and thinks that with enough hard work, she will eventually succeed. The company's owner even stated that she was next in line for vice president. Linda enjoys watching Survivor after she finishes dinner. Her books and vacation photos demonstrate her interest in the subject of survival. Bradley takes over his late father's role as company president the next day. Linda quickly hides her lunch and rushes to introduce herself, but Bradley is repulsed because she still has mayo on her face. Bradley leaves for his office after she tries to make a joke about shoes that only makes him feel more awkward. Bradley then notices mayo on his hand and expresses his disgust at Linda. Executive Franklin informs him that Linda has been promised the position of vice president, but Bradley says Donovan will receive the promotion. Franklin explains that the company relies on Linda, and even Bradley's father has thrown everything on her. Bradley does not want her car and wishes for her to move to another office in order to remain anonymous. Franklin then points out that there is a major meeting in Bangkok coming up. Donovan is unable to handle the situation alone. In fact, no appendix has solved the body D issue. Bradley agrees to bring Linda on the trip, but only so she can assist Donovan. She won't be allowed to attend any meetings. Linda later notices Bradley and Donovan playing around. A co-worker informs her that they used to be fraternity brothers, and Donovan has been promoted to vice president. Linda rushes to Bradley's office, furious, to ask why she didn't get the promotion, pointing out that Donovan has only been here for 6 months while she has been here for 7 years. Bradley explains that Linda is good with numbers but not with people, and that he needs someone who can charm a room in order to close business deals. He also points out that she has something on her teeth, which humiliates her even more. He tells her to join the Bangkok trip and resolve the issue with Appendix D as a compromise so that she can prove him wrong. Linda tries to object, but Bradley ignores her and continues to play golf. Linda notices her expensive ring when Bradley's fiancée, Zuri, arrives at that moment. When she tries to leave, Bradley says that people have complained about Linda eating her lunch at her desk due to the odor, so she must eat in the break room. This is an outright lie. He's the only one bothered by this. Linda walks through the office holding back tears, aware that everyone is looking at her. She manages to make it to her car and tries to convince herself that she is enough, but she continues to cry. Linda arrives at the airport full of energy on the morning of the trip and announces that she has resolved the issue with Appendix D, but Bradley is uninterested. While the guys are having fun, Linda continues to work. Donovan reveals that he has found Linda's Survivor audition tape, and everyone laughs. Linda is so upset when she realizes what's going on that she decides not to submit her report with a solution. The stewardess makes everyone take their seats and fasten their seatbelts after the plane shakes for a few seconds. Bradley and Linda immediately do so, but Bradley makes a joke that says, "Only weaklings need seatbelts," so the others laugh instead of sitting. When the plane starts shaking again, Donovan and 2 other employees are thrown around the cabin. The plane catches fire at that moment and starts to crash. The wall breaks and the cabin depressurizes, causing an employee to be sucked out. Donovan is holding Linda's leg, so she offers her arm to help him, only for him to request her seat. At the same time, the other guy tries to hold onto Bradley, who pushes him away. As Linda's glasses fly off, hitting Donovan in the face, the employee manages to grab his leg. Donovan repeatedly tells him to let go, so the guy bites his leg, to which Donovan responds by hitting him. Donovan then grabs Linda by the throat and asks for another seat, so she takes a fork and stabs his hand, causing him to let go. Both men are sucked out of the plane, and Donovan's tie gets stuck in the hole, causing his body to bounce on the glass. Linda closes the window after he asks for assistance. The plane crashes into the sea after losing one of its engines, and water starts to fill the cabin. Linda holds her breath while struggling with the seatbelt. After she manages to free herself, she swims ahead and is startled by the stewardess's body. She screams before swimming out of the plane to reach the surface, only to find herself in the middle of nowhere. The plane vanishes underwater. Linda awakens the next morning on an island. She wanders around for a while before discovering that Bradley is also there. He's unconscious, with a deep cut in his leg. Linda hits one rock with another to create a blade that she uses to cut plants. She then gathers vines and branches to build a shelter. She also digs a hole and lays down coconut shells to collect water. It starts raining in the evening, but Linda is safe in the shelter while Bradley is cared for. Linda drinks the coconut water the next day. Bradley wakes up at that precise moment, so she makes him drink some water as well. When he hears nobody survived, he has a brief breakdown and expresses gratitude to Linda for her assistance. Linda then works hard to make a fire out of some branches and leaves. She also catches a fish and cooks it over an open flame. Bradley refuses to eat when she offers him some because he hates the smell, so Linda forces the food into his mouth. Linda is overjoyed the next morning because she found a conch. Bradley, on the other hand, is irritated and asks why she hasn't made a distress signal or searched for GPS equipment on the plane. He thinks the priority should be to get them rescued, but Linda says keeping them alive has been her top priority. Bradley experiences severe ear pain when he tries to stand up. Linda tries to help him, but he won't let her touch him. Bradley gets angry when she teases him about his soft hands, and he reminds her to talk to him properly because she is his employee. Linda leaves him alone after picking up her things. As the hours pass, Bradley tries to pretend he is fine by himself. He starts to feel thirsty and hungry, though, and realizes he cannot do this without her. That night, a powerful wind blows his shelter away. The sun starts to burn his skin the next day, and he passes out. Linda approaches him with some water and announces that they are no longer in the office, to which he agrees. Bradley finally gets some food moments later. Linda says she's seen boar tracks, so she makes a spear to hunt it down. Bradley doubts Linda's ability to hunt a boar, but Linda quickly corrects him, stating that she is actually from the strategy and planning department. She calls him out on lying because he clearly did not look at her work as he claimed. Linda follows the ground tracks through the woods, but freezes when she hears a noise. Suddenly, the boar appears behind her, knocking her down. Fortunately, it becomes stuck behind a fallen tree, giving her enough time to run. The boar then runs around the tree, looking for her, not stopping until he finds her jacket on the ground. Linda leaps from above and stabs it in the neck. The spear, however, breaks, and the boar runs off to shake her off. When it charges at her, she stabs it again with the other half of the spear. Despite this, the boar remains alive and continues to spit blood and mucus in her face. Linda desperately takes the first spear half from its neck and repeatedly stabs it in the eye, finally killing it. Linda proudly drops the boar's head in front of Bradley and announces that she enjoys hunting. That night, they both enjoy the delicious meat. Linda is exploring some days later when she discovers a waterfall and decides to take a shower. She hears a noise and then sees a boat nearby. Linda rushes to ask for assistance, but she stops herself when she realizes she is content here. Then she returns to the camp, hands Bradley some water, and shows him the backpack she made out of leaves. Bradley is frustrated, however, because they have not been found in 2 weeks. When Linda asks him to remain positive, Bradley snaps and yells at her, telling her that they should build a raft. They start arguing because Linda thinks it's a bad idea. Bradley soon realizes she is content with the way things are and tries to walk away, but he is slow due to his injured leg. He points out that Linda thinks she's important, but he's the president of a major company. Linda, on the other hand, laughs and reminds him that his father did everything and he is only a Nepo baby. Linda laughs even more as Bradley fires her. Bradley leaves and tries to set up his own camp, but his efforts are futile. Meanwhile, Linda has constructed a sturdy shelter, hat, and hammock. Not to mention, she has food. She also uses branches to write the word help in the sand. He is so hungry that he catches a bug and tries to eat it, but it tastes so bad that he spits it out. Bradley eventually approaches Linda, who has made a table and a sushi spread with holes in it. He tries to be friendly, but she mocks him by pointing out that he has something on his teeth. He notices she has a knife, so she explains that she found it on the shore. Bradley starts to apologize for his attitude, but Linda asks for more, so he mentions how important she is to the company and how much he underestimated her. She keeps eating and drinking just to tease him. As a result, a desperate Bradley falls to his knees and offers to help. Bradley ends up begging and offering naughty times as a result of her constant teasing. Linda quickly stops him and eventually agrees to take him back. Linda takes Bradley for a walk in the afternoon to help him rehabilitate his leg. They reach the mountain and take a narrow path that requires them to make some dangerous jumps. Linda shows him that there is nothing but water for miles before they continue their journey. She then shows him how to identify poisonous berries. They must rub them on the skin to see if there is any reaction. Finally, she points to 2 rocks that form an X, explaining that that part of the island is only covered in thorn bushes and poison vines. They must never go there if they wish to survive. Bradley decides to take a break and rest his leg on the way back. Linda's feet suddenly break the ground, and she must hold on to some vines to keep from falling. Bradley immediately reaches out to help her get back up. They land on top of each other and laugh about it. Linda reveals during dinner that she has been making alcohol from fermented fruit, and it should be ready soon. They're both drunk by the time it's night. Linda suddenly reveals that she was previously married. Their relationship lasted 10 years before his death, but Linda doesn't feel bad because he was an unloving husband. Bradley says he understands how it feels because he never truly knew his father. The man had always been working and had no connection with his son or wife. Bradley tries not to resent his abusive mother because his grandfather was abusive to her as well. Linda is inspired to admit that her husband was abusive and enjoyed drinking. She usually hid the car keys when he drank too much, but one night they had a huge fight and he did horrible things to her. Linda finally had enough and gave him the keys, so he left in the car and was killed in an accident. She has never told anyone about this and concludes that they should not leave the island. Linda wakes up the next morning with a terrible hangover. She realizes how attractive Bradley is when she goes to the shore to freshen up and sees him bathing. In the afternoon, a terrible storm hits the island, and Linda must push Bradley out of the way to save him from a falling tree. When the storm passes, they run to a cave to hide. Bradley embraces Linda to share body heat. Linda awakens alone in the cave the next morning and goes in search of Bradley, who is in the woods. Linda apologizes for building their camp so close to the shore. Bradley simply says they can build a new one on higher ground together. Sometime later, the duo has a completely new camp. When Bradley notices his leg stiffening, they go for a walk, and he thanks her for everything she has taught him. In the evening, he volunteers to make dinner and admits that this is his first time cooking. Linda starts to feel dizzy and realizes he put the bad berries in her food before collapsing. Bradley then runs into the woods and comes back with a raft he has been secretly building. He gets on the water and rises until a wave hits him. The raft remains in place, and he's so proud of his work that he gives Linda the finger. When a second wave hits him, the raft collapses, and a third, larger wave throws Bradley into the water. He's slowly drowning and hallucinating that Zuri has arrived for him, but she pukes on him. Linda had rescued him while she was still sick from the berries. As more puke falls on Bradley's face, she starts CPR on the shore. Linda feeds Bradley the next morning, explaining that she needs to teach him that he is no longer in control. Linda reveals that she fed Bradley an octopus that produces a toxin that blocks human nerves after Bradley suddenly starts to feel ill. He will remain conscious, but his body will be unable to move. Once Bradley is completely paralyzed, Linda sets fire to the knife and takes off his clothes while discussing her old dog, who was fixed to make him more obedient. She tells Bradley that he must accept that she is now the boss and lowers the knife to his groin, making it appear that she is chopping off his member. Bradley is unable to move his eyes, so he can only cry as blood splatters on his face. Linda, on the other hand, pulls out a dead rat, revealing that the whole thing was a trick to scare him. She swears that the next time he makes a mistake, it will not be a rat. When Bradley feels better, he continues to work while Linda searches for fruit. Zuri arrives on a boat on the opposite beach, which surprises her. Zuri rushes to hug Linda, remembering her name. Linda tells them Bradley is fine, but she secretly wishes this could go on forever. As she leads Zuri and the captain to the camp, she wonders if there are any additional search parties. They confirm there aren't. In fact, Zuri chartered her own boat to continue the search. Linda claims that the camp is there as she takes the duo up the mountain. When they reach the weak spot, she stops to pretend to tie her shoelaces and tells them to keep going. Zuri immediately slips off the edge, and the captain grabs her as he asks Linda for assistance, but she does not move. Linda returns to the camp and sits on the shore, trying to deal with her guilt. Linda announces she's taking a sick day while Bradley says they should go hunting. Bradley reminds her that he can't do it alone, while noticing the knife nearby. Linda hears Zuri's voice calling her name and finds her crawling out of the sea that night. Zuri calls her a murderer, and Linda panics as she waves her torch, only to realize she is hallucinating when a creepy corpse jumps on her from behind. Linda awakens. Bradley tries to go hunting the next morning, but he makes a noise, and the boar runs away. He sees a hand sticking out of the sand at that moment and breaks down when he discovers Zuri's ring. He yells furiously as he runs back to the camp. When Linda returns from her walk, Bradley asks if she killed Zuri Zuri and shows her the ring. Linda explains that Zuri slipped, but she didn't tell him because he wouldn't believe it. Bradley admits he does not believe her and mentions her husband. Linda reaches for the knife. However, Bradley already has it. As a result, Linda starts to run. A chase begins, and Bradley quickly loses sight of Linda. He looks behind a tree and sees her shoes before she leaps on him and tries to choke him with her shoelaces. In the struggle, he drops the knife. Bradley manages to push Linda while ripping some skin from her head, and Linda jumps on him again to continue the fight. He tries to choke her, and she bites his shoulder, ripping off some skin in the process. Then she bites his hand, and Bradley inserts his thumb into her eye. Linda manages to grab a rock and strike him in the head, making him dizzy. Linda smiles and reveals she has the ring at that moment. She swallows it and gives him the finger. Bradley tackles her, and they fight again. He immediately runs away after Linda grabs the knife and stabs him in the stomach this time. Linda considers following him, but she notices that he is heading to the X-Rocks and decides to wait. Moments later, Bradley reaches the opposite side of the island and discovers that the area is safe. It does have a vacation house. Furious, Bradley runs to the nearest door and manages to enter. He uses a kitchen cloth to cover his wound and takes fresh water from the fridge. He hears Linda's voice mocking him at that moment, so he opens a drawer but notices that all the knives are missing. Linda laughs at him because she thought the knife she found would wash up on shore. Bradley, realizing she is speaking through the security system, throws an object at the camera, breaking it. Linda, on the other hand, sees Bradley as he walks to the next room. She explains that when she saw that boat several days ago, she followed it and witnessed some employees dropping supplies. She had memorized the lock password when they used it and later broke in. Linda also admits that she hit the boat captain in order to make him and Zuri eat their dust. Bradley continues to sneak around, but he is eventually cornered by Linda, who has found a gun. Bradley cries as he admits he was a monster, but he swears he's changed because of her and calls her the most amazing person he's ever met. He even says he loves her and believes they can live happily together in this house. Linda also says she loves him, but she notices that a helmet decoration is missing a horn and Bradley has a hand behind his back at that moment. Bradley attacks her while making her drop the gun and slashes her with the horn. He quickly grabs the gun and tries to shoot her, only to discover that there is no ammunition. Linda grabs a golf club and strikes him multiple times, eventually killing him. Linda is now a successful woman who enjoys playing golf with celebrities. When a reporter interviews her, she reveals that she was found alone on a raft in the middle of the sea. Everyone thinks she was the only survivor, and she wrote a book about her experience, which will be adapted into a film. She's currently writing a self-help book to teach people how to save themselves. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Leave a comment about your favorite movie, and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.